I never realized I was lingering in the shadows when they revealed their true colors. They believed me too naive to discern their motives, that I was merely a vessel for their financial gain. I allowed this deception to persist until the moment for reconciliation had long passed. The soirée was magnificent, as was tradition. A lengthy mahogany table adorned with cream-colored silk stretched across the Riverview dining chamber. Crystal stemware glistened beneath the glow of gilded chandeliers, while the atmosphere carried the essence of vintage port and herb-crusted lamb. Jovial sounds reverberated throughout the space, their laughter, their delight. My father, mother, extended relations, everyone I had considered my kin, sat there, glasses raised, plates piled with delicacies, unknowingly funded by my scientific achievements. I had momentarily excused myself to address a call from my laboratory. Upon returning, I paused behind the heavy damask drapery, inadvertently overhearing a conversation that would forever alter my perception. She's entirely oblivious to our intentions. We merely tolerate her presence for her scientific grants, my father's voice pronounced, saturated with hubris. The assembly erupted in amusement. My mother exhaled dramatically, sampling her port. Truthfully, I anticipated she might have discerned our motives by now. Yet our little academic continues financing our lifestyle, content with mere inclusion. Several relatives chuckled softly. Pitiful, my uncle remarked. She genuinely believes she belongs among us. I struggled for breath. The evening's warmth dissipated, replaced by a penetrating chill that permeated my core. I clutched the drapery's edge, my fingernails embedding themselves in the fabric as their words penetrated my consciousness. At 38, I had dedicated my existence to neurological research. I had established a renowned institute from meager beginnings. I believed they had finally acknowledged my accomplishments. Instead, I served merely as their financial resource. They harbored no affection, no respect, only exploitation. I could have confronted them, unleashed my fury. But as my pulse thundered in my ears, I compelled myself to maintain composure. I suppressed the indignation rising within me and assumed an impassive expression. If they presumed me foolish, if they truly believed me blind to their manipulation, I would permit this misconception, for they had committed the gravest error of their lives. I forced a pleasant expression and re-entered the dining chamber. "Everything satisfactory?" my mother inquired, with feigned concern. I nodded, maintaining neutrality. "Merely a laboratory matter." My father nodded approvingly. "Excellent! Your dedication is precisely why you've achieved such prominence." I clenched my jaw reflexively. "You mean why you've prospered." I resumed my position, allowing their charade to continue. The discourse shifted to exotic excursions, luxury timepieces, investment strategies, privileges they had never earned yet indulged in through my generosity. I had financed their lifestyle, believing I was demonstrating my value to them. No longer. A smile emerged as I contemplated my response. Let them savor their extravagances temporarily, for soon everything would vanish. The following morning, I initiated my strategy. I contacted my financial advisor. "Dr. Wilson, I require immediate removal of all familial members from shared accounts." Dr. Wilson hesitated momentarily. "Professor, are you certain? This includes everyone?" "Unequivocally," I stated firmly. "Deactivate all cards except mine. Decline any attempted transactions." By afternoon, my father contacted me, incensed. "What precisely is transpiring? My card was declined at the Scientific Society." I feigned confusion. "Indeed? How peculiar!" He muttered expletives. "Resolve this immediately." I refrained. Instead, I observed as their illusion of prosperity began disintegrating. A week later, I attended a prestigious academic gala, one my family had accessed solely through my reputation. They arrived in their finery, oblivious that this evening would witness their downfall. When my turn to address the assembly arrived, I approached the podium, my heart pounding furiously. I inhaled deeply and offered a smile to the distinguished audience. "It's an honor to address you tonight. I wished to express gratitude to those who supported me, not from ulterior motives, but from genuine belief in my research. The chamber quieted. My parents shifted uncomfortably. Unfortunately, I've discovered some individuals value you only for your utility. A ripple of whispers traversed the gathering. Consequently, effective immediately, I am severing all financial connections with those who have exploited my accomplishments. Gasps and murmurs erupted. My mother gripped the tablecloth, her knuckles blanching. The transformation was immediate. The morning following the gala, my communication devices overflowed with missed connections and unread messages from my family. I ignored them, instead savoring my Ethiopian coffee while observing the ensuing chaos. By midday, my mother's identification appeared on my screen again. This time, I answered. "Yes?" I responded, my tone composed and detached. "How dare you?" she exclaimed. "Do you comprehend what you've done? The financial institution has frozen our accounts. Our credentials are being rejected. We cannot even access the scientific society." I stirred my coffee, reclining in my chair. "How unusual," I remarked, my inflection eerily reminiscent of hers from that fateful evening. My father's voice resounded in the background. "Rectify this immediately!" I nearly laughed at the entitlement evident in his tone. I had subsidized their entire existence, yet they continued addressing me as though I owed them obligation. "I believe I shall decline," I finally stated. Silence ensued, followed by my mother's voice, reduced to a saccharine tone. "Darling, I suspect there's been a misinterpretation. Perhaps we could discuss—" "I overheard everything," I interjected, my voice calm yet frigid. Another silence followed. This one weighted with realization. "What?" she whispered. "I was positioned behind you during the family gathering," I elaborated, allowing my revelation to register. I heard every utterance. My mother inhaled sharply. My father muttered inaudibly before clearing his throat. "Listen, you're overreacting. We were merely jesting." "Jesting?" I emitted a humorless laugh. "Fascinating, because your tone suggested otherwise when you labeled me an intellectual simpleton, valuable only for my financial contributions." No, you misunderstand." I terminated the connection, allowing them to contemplate their predicament. This marked merely the commencement of their decline. By day's end, their world unraveled, their luxury vehicles repossessed, their prestigious society memberships revoked. The estate they had flaunted for years received final warning from the financial institution. Without my resources funding their mortgage, they would forfeit it within weeks. Most significantly, their supposed companions, those who had gravitated toward them during their affluence, vanished. I observed as their formerly immaculate existence devolved into a nightmare of desperate communications and ignored correspondences. The irony was profound. They had devoted years to patronizing me, deriding me privately. Now society mocked them openly. Matters worsened when media attention focused on the situation. Following my announcement at the gala, whispers circulated throughout academic circles that my family had subsisted on my achievements. These whispers evolved into speculation, then into headlines. Acclaimed neurologist Seaver's ties with family after years of financial exploitation. Scientific pioneer exposes relatives. They valued me solely for my grants. My parents had dedicated their lives to ascending the social hierarchy. Now they were objects of ridicule in intellectual society. Their professional associates ceased communications, their invitations to exclusive gatherings withdrawn. Those who once fawned over them now scorned them, and they remained powerless to prevent it. Weeks passed. They lost everything, their residence, their designer attire, and jewelry liquidated to satisfy obligations. Once arrogant and untouchable, they now drowned in deficit. Yet even after everything, they believed they could manipulate me still. One evening, my father appeared at my laboratory. His appearance had transformed. Gone were the tailored suits, replaced by worn attire. His countenance appeared hollow, his formerly proud demeanor now defeated. Momentarily, a fragment of myself felt compassion. Then I recalled everything. "What brings you here?" I inquired, crossing my arms. He emitted a rehearsed sigh. "We erred in our treatment of you." I elevated an eyebrow. "Indeed," he faltered. "What I mean is, if you're here to express contrition, state it explicitly," I interrupted. He clenched his jaw. I waited, but the words never materialized, because genuine remorse eluded him. He merely desired me to resolve his predicament. "I understand," I exhaled sharply. "You don't regret your actions. You regret their discovery." My father's expression darkened. "You ungrateful," I laughed, shaking my head. "There he is, the authentic you." His visage contorted with rage. "After everything we've provided," I leaned forward. "What precisely did you provide?" Silence prevailed. I nodded. "Precisely my assessment." Then I stood. "You must depart now." His mouth opened, yet no sound emerged. For the first time in his existence, my father possessed no authority, and I possessed absolute control. The following day, my mother attempted a different approach. She sobbed through the telephone, lamenting her supposed affection for me, asserting familial bonds should endure. I permitted her emotional display, then inquired, "If you truly value me, why did you laugh while denigrating my intelligence?" Profound silence followed. As I suspected, I smiled grimly, terminating the connection. That marked our final communication. The days afterward were strangely tranquil. No messages, no entitled demands, no artificial warmth from a mother who had only ever perceived me as a means to an end. For the first time in my existence, I ceased seeking their approval, ceased imploring for their validation. I was liberated. Yet as I sat in my penthouse laboratory, overlooking the metropolitan skyline, observing the twinkling lights below, I couldn't dismiss the sensation that this tranquility was temporary. Individuals like my parents never conceded without resistance. I predicted correctly. The storm arrived as correspondence delivered to my laboratory in a gold-embossed envelope, one of the final vestiges of their former arrogance. I recognized my father's distinctive cursive. Momentarily, I contemplated consigning it directly to the shredder, but curiosity prevailed. I unfolded the heavy parchment and read the desperate plea. "My dearest daughter, while misunderstandings have occurred, blood remains paramount. You have demonstrated your position, and we acknowledge that. However, this situation cannot persist. Our reputation suffers. If you fail to rectify this, consequences will follow. Let us be rational. Discuss this as adults. Return home. Your devoted father." I emitted a bitter laugh. Consequences? They continued to believe they possessed leverage, continued to believe they could intimidate me into returning. They failed to comprehend that the former version of myself had vanished. I crumpled the correspondence and discarded it. Let them suffer. I owed them nothing. 2 weeks passed before their public collapse began. While reviewing research data, I encountered it. A viral recording of my father, crimson-faced, raging outside a scientific society. "She demonstrates no gratitude despite our contributions. Children should honor their parents. We molded her identity, and now she punishes us. We are her family." In the background, spectators whispered, witnessing the spectacle. Even journalists appeared discomfited. Then my mother stepped forward, her fabricated tears glistening beneath the cameras. "We only ever desired her success. She abandoned us. What manner of daughter behaves thus?" I stared at my screen, slow indignation building within me. This represented their final gambit, portraying themselves as victims, turning public opinion against me. Yet they underestimated one crucial factor. Truth supported my position. That very night, I made my response. I sat at my desk, activated my computer, and began composing. A simple statement, devoid of drama or emotion, presenting only cold, indisputable facts. I stood behind my parents during a family gathering when they laughed about my supposed ignorance, how they merely tolerated me for financial gain. I heard every word. They have exploited me for years. I harbor no regrets about severing ties. I published it. Within minutes, my communications exploded with notifications. People demonstrated discernment. They perceived through my parents' deception. Comments flooded in. You owe them nothing. Maintain your position. Parents exhibiting such behavior deserve no forgiveness. Their final stratagem backfired spectacularly. Days passed. My parents' reputations lay in ruins. Their associates had abandoned them. Their influence extinguished. That's when they made their final, pathetic attempt to reclaim me. I was conducting research when my assistant knocked. Your mother is here, she said hesitantly. She appears distraught. I sighed wearily. I could have dismissed her. Should have, perhaps. But a fragment of myself, the part still seeking closure, said, Send her in. My mother entered the laboratory. Her customary superiority vanished. Her once immaculate appearance was disheveled, her eyes vacant, her designer attire cheap and rumpled. For the first time in my life, she appeared diminished. She sat across from me, hands trembling. She opened her mouth, then sobbed. I don't know what to do, she whispered. We've lost everything. I observed her, waited. This was her opportunity, her chance to express the one sentiment that might lead me to reconsider. I'm sorry, I supplied for her, studying her face attentively. She froze, her lip quivered. Then she uttered, You were never supposed to discover. My heart hardened. That was all I required. Not contrition, not regret for causing pain, merely regret for being exposed. I stood. We have concluded our business. Her head snapped upward. Wait! But I was already departing, for I had nothing further to contribute. The moment my mother exited my laboratory that day, I knew it was finished. Not merely the financial severance, not merely the public humiliation, but the emotional disconnection. For years, I had strived desperately to earn their affection, to be perceived as something beyond a financial resource with a beating heart. I had repeatedly assured myself that by proving my worth, they would transform. But in that moment, observing my mother's desperate, hollow gaze, I realized a profound truth. They were incapable of change because individuals who perceive you as a resource don't suddenly develop conscience when that resource vanishes. And for the first time in my existence, I was completely liberated. I didn't need to destroy them. They had already destroyed themselves. Please subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories of justice and revelation.